Air Show Friedrichshafen, which is probably the biggest for the moment in the world aviation show.
I've been flying aeroplanes since I was 16. The biggest aircraft I can fly at the moment is a North American T6, which is a warbird, World War II fighter plane. This is a French aircraft.
With old history, I believe.
Yes, it's very easy to fly.
It's really very attractive investment.
As a pilot, it makes your life easier. It's the best time to have an aeroplane is now.
Parked your money, you would drive your income. Nice to meet you here at Friedrichshafen. It's so long, there were no any real exhibitions, and it's really the first big event. Tell me, what do you sell at this exhibition?
So I sell the Kodiak, built by Daher and based in France. It's a multi-mission aircraft that is designed to land in dirt strips, grass, anywhere you need to really. It primarily works to transport cargo and large groups of passengers. As you can see here, it's got very big tires, low pressure, designed to handle very difficult terrain without sliding around. It has a very big payload, 7,200 pounds, and it's designed to fly very slowly. So as you'll see by the wing up here, it's a high wing, very thick, so you can fly very low airspeed without stalling, falling out of the sky.
People who are really afraid of flying, they can safely fly on this type of aircraft.
Yes.
And you said that it's French-made aircraft.
French-owned company,
Okay.
American-made aircraft.
And where is the production exactly?
In Idaho, Sandpoint, Idaho.
And where is it?
In the United States.
United States.
Yes.
We met with Marle, whom we know for quite a while. She's a young specialist, young professional in selling of aircrafts, which is quite unusual job for the lady, I believe.
Yes.
Today we are in Air Show Friedrichshafen, which is probably the biggest for the moment in the world aviation show. I just want to make kind of personal and business story. So first I would ask Marle how you managed to come to be seller of aircraft.
I've been flying aeroplanes since I was 16. Always wanted to work in the industry. And through my training as a pilot, I discovered the opportunity to sell aircraft.
You're a pilot yourself?
I'm a pilot.
Which is the biggest aircraft you were driving?
The biggest aircraft I can fly at the moment is a North American T6, which is a warbird, World War II fighter plane.
So you really know what you are selling. I mean, not just all these booklets and brochures with the figures which sometimes you cannot believe. So you understand in deep how it works.
I try my best, yes.
What are you doing here? So which aircrafts you try to sell, and what are the models which are here at the exhibition?
I work now mostly with the Kodiak, which is the big aeroplane behind us. That's the aircraft that I sell for Western Europe. That's my territory.
So you are responsible for Western Europe?
Yes, along with my colleagues here today that you see walking around. We all work together. And the other aircraft that we have here at the booth is the TBM. That's a TBM 940. And over on the other side, we have the Honda Jet Elite S.
So your company is selling, in fact, several different producers?
Yes.
And you also sell helicopters, yes?
We sell the Bell 505 helicopter, which is in another hall, unfortunately.
Yes. We will go later on to see that also.
Yeah, go and check it out.
So you live in Germany?
Yes.
In Düsseldorf, I heard?
Correct.
So it's really one of the major industrial cities in Germany.
That's also where our headquarters is. That's where we do all of our maintenance and all of our training. The area is, as you say, very industrial, so it lends itself very well to an environment where you can have a lot of aviation work going on and a lot of infrastructure for the maintenance and the...
Okay, these two nice aircraft. So if we buy this aircraft, and definitely it's for European flights only because it's turboprops, just give us an idea of how many service centers you have in Europe, how easy to do maintenance.
Kodiak, there is one service center with us in Mönchengladbach, and then we have a second one in Switzerland. The Kodiak, there's just 2. We're working on expanding further to the United Kingdom. We will have a Kodiak service center by the end of the year in England.
You will have your own facility there.
It's a contractor, so
Okay.
a maintenance facility that will get the license to work on the Kodiak.
Tell us a bit in more details of 2 of these aircraft.
The Kodiak, you'll see it's got a big high wing. Purpose of this aeroplane is to transport heavy weights, up to 10 people.
10 people, okay.
It's what we call a multi-mission aeroplane, so easy to convert and use for a lot of applications. It's unpressurized and it has a fixed gear. So that's the main difference between that and this one. It's also a bit slower.
What is the speed about?
Maximum cruise speed is 180 knots. This is a more robust aeroplane, if you want to call it that. The Land Rover. Then we
Okay.
come to the Porsche. Pressurized aeroplane, much faster, double the speed, 330 knots, 600 kilometers per hour. Retractable undercarriage. More for business travel or small family to get somewhere quickly.
How many packs?
4 to 5 packs, depending.
Plus one pilot.
Single pilots with a co-pilot or passenger in the front seat. Both aeroplanes can be flown single pilot operations, which is
But it's on the private.
private.
Tell me, for commercial, for AOC operators, do you have a lot under AOC of such aircrafts?
For both, not really, no. It's mostly
For private,
individuals.
they would probably fly themselves.
They fly themselves mostly. We have a few cases where we have pilots who are flying with owners for supervision or safety purposes. Well, they learn to fly.
Yeah. Okay, and what would be the standard, let's say, distance, average standard distance for both of them?
The Kodiak is a bit shorter. It can do about 1,000 nautical miles, so within Europe, mostly mainland Europe. The TBM can go up to 1,700 nautical miles, so you can get a little bit further down,
Can cross whole Europe.
whole of Europe without a fuel stop for your business traveler.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's a good aeroplane.
The reason why you present them, it's because it's a new models, or you expect new models?
The TBM 960 just came out a few days ago. It was launched. We have the first one in Europe now.
Okay.
Rheinland Air Service was the first dealership.
So it's a good opportunity to buy these aircraft.
I think they're already, I have to check with Frank, I think they sold out.
So many people who wants to buy
A
them.
lot of owners of the 940 put down orders for the 960.
What is the exact difference between 940 and 960?
It's a new engine. It's the Pratt & Whitney PT6E. So
Okay.
electric powered, makes for more efficiency. Again, I'm not a TBM expert, but better use of power and effectively more power out of the engine. More speedy, more efficient, more fun.
You are saying it like a pilot, you know.
Yeah.
People who are not pilots, they cannot really make a proper evaluation.
People who are not pilots would still appreciate the cosmetics have been improved and the interface is easier to work with. It's more user-friendly. The Kodiak, we also have a new product out. It's the 100 Series 3. A slightly better paint to the Series 2 behind us. Improved seats, more user-friendly for the passengers, more comfortable. On the cosmetic side, it's really the same on the Kodiak. It's a workhorse.
Can you give an idea roughly how many aircrafts you have in Europe right now? I mean, of both types. Just a rough
The
idea.
Kodiak is about 16 now in Europe. The TBM, to be honest with you, I think it's up to nearly 100, but again, in fact, I'd prefer to check.
Where are they produced?
The TBM is produced in Tarbes, in France, and the Kodiak is produced in Idaho, in Sandpoint.
It's United States.
United States.
So in fact, this lovely bird, it's a French aircraft
This is a French aircraft.
with old history, I believe.
Yes, it's, I think, don't quote me, military history to it. Daher, the manufacturer, has a big presence not only in civilian aircraft but military as well, in development of new technologies. So battery-powered aircraft, ultimately the future of flight.
Which aircraft would you buy it for yourself?
For myself, the Kodiak. I'm not saying that because I sell the Kodiak. I sell the Kodiak because I would buy the Kodiak. That's how I came to.
Isn't it too big for you, no?
No,
No?
I would buy it for the fun.
Okay.
I want to land in dirt and go on rocks and mud, and I would buy it for the fun factor, honestly. It would suit my personality more.
And can you give us a price idea for the new models?
The Kodiak, if you want a good new one with a nice interior, good specifications, you're looking at $2.8 million.
$2.8 million.
Yeah.
Probably some VAT to be paid if it's imported to Europe, yes?
Exactly. I mean, that's again a situation for the owner to work on, but VAT, if you do import directly to Europe, you will have to pay VAT.
And the second one?
The second one is now $6 million.
$6 million. So it's just, do you have an idea, rough idea of delivery times for both aircrafts?
We as a dealership buy slots ahead of time. So you can easily predict when an aircraft will come for you. Lead time is now 6 months to 12 months, depending on the world at the moment.
You see, if the buyer is not a pilot, how difficult is to find a pilot? I mean, availability of the trained, rated pilots in Europe for the moment.
In my experience this last year, it's been very easy. There are a lot of pilots who, also due to the pandemic, I think have ended up in a position where they're looking for work or looking for something to fly again. I've had it in 3 separate cases now where there's been an owner matched up with a pilot already. They find each other and they come to us.
Probably it's the pilot, in fact, who suggested give an idea of non-professional.
I would say pilots are sometimes the better salespeople because they push the owner eventually to buy this plane. They're like, come, I want this aircraft. So pilots are very helpful to sell a plane, actually.
You don't really need to order and wait for the special training simulators. So the pilots are in the market.
The pilots are in the market. I think it will decrease now that things are improving with the airlines again. But up until a month ago, we were still getting an email every few weeks from a pilot with a CV saying, I fly Honda Jet, I've got this rating.
And theoretically, potential buyers coming to you. Mm-hmm. You probably already have some in your files and your emails, some few names which you can use. Yes.
Yeah, we have some pilots who are also happy to assist owners in the beginning of the ownership and their flying of the aircraft. We have 3 very good flight instructors who are professional pilots in their own capacity.
And that's in Düsseldorf area, yes?
In Germany.
Yes.
They're all German-based pilots who will also do the training. It takes about 2 weeks for the training on both sides, and who will fly with the owner until he feels proficient. So we have that as well.
Tell me how it's standardly organized. I mean, people, they really afraid because, you know, with the car you can easily understand. So how it, where to park, how to fuel and so on.
Yeah.
So if early retired wealthy person decided to test this market and to satisfy his old dream to become a pilot, is it technically possible for the standard person to run all this himself?
It's an easy, in both cases, they are easy aircraft to work with. They're built to be owned and operated by one person. It's very easy to understand the technicality of the aircraft. They're both pretty easy to find a hangar for, parking and so forth. Maintenance we do ourselves, we track it for the owners, so there's no need for the owner to be stressed about, oh, when am I doing maintenance, or what might be broken or what might need something. We will track that for him and tell him immediately, in a month you should come in. So it's easy.
We have a client who is loving cars. He's collecting cars, driving luxury cars and so on. He never been flying and he's wondering how long could it take from just today he make a decision until he gets the license to fly.
Depends on how much time he has. You can do a PPL in 3 months if you're willing to.
So it's been 3 full day training, yes?
Yeah. But then you're committing to being there every single day. You do effectively stop your life and go and train. I actually, when I was in flying school myself, I was in flying school with a guy like with this profile, and he was the first one finished. He was quick.
3 months, and it's not that difficult.
It's not that difficult. I mean, it depends on the person. I'd say a car driver, a car collector who likes a performance car will do very well as a pilot because he knows to look into the distance to be ahead of the machine, which you need to be as a pilot as well. A guy with a car profile will probably be a very good pilot. He's already got the correct character and mentality.
And probably, let's say, potential development would be from Kodiak to TBM. I think Kodiak is a bit easy to navigate.
Kodiak is very easy to fly. You've got a turbine engine, so it's incredibly safe. The Pratt & Whitney engine is incredibly reliable. You just don't worry at all with this engine. So you've got a very good high-performance aircraft, a really strong engine, safe airplane, but it's easy to fly, easy to land, pretty slow. Definitely if you decide, okay, I want a better challenge or a faster plane, off you go. And then from this onto Honda Jet.
And tell me, most probably these small aircrafts you also sell with the programs of maintenance, yes?
Definitely. Both of them come with their own maintenance programs. Usually it's a 5-year maintenance plan that's standard for pretty much every turbine aircraft.
The programs explain for those who doesn't know how it works.
So in a very basic sense, the program is broken down into years or flight hours. Say you reach 100 flight hours or 1 year, whichever is sooner. Then there are scheduled tasks that need to be accomplished in the maintenance for that year. So it's either whichever comes first, your hour limit or your annual limit.
Just give us as an idea of price per hour on each of these aircraft.
Okay, so the Kodiak is $700 per hour, very easy estimate.
So it means you fly 1 hour, you pay $700.
Yeah. But this is what I like to use to calculate for people that are interested.
Say $700 for flight hours.
Yes.
And it means no any other costs of maintenance. It operates like an insurance, yes?
I think of it this way. This is $700 should in almost every case cover insurance, maintenance and fuel. If you make an allowance for insurance and maintenance per hour and then include your fuel, then trust me, it's a good estimate. If you have a pilot, you can estimate another $500 on top of that. So a fair price that we like to pay owners if we use their aircraft, for example, this one is about 1,200 dollars per hour with the pilot and everything.
The total cost of the flight hour on Kodiak would be 1,200.
700 without a pilot, 1,200 with a pilot, if you have to pay a pilot as well.
700 is the price for the program.
It's the price to operate the aircraft, including the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then program, how much would be in this?
I mean, per hour, now I'm really guessing. I have a whole spreadsheet.
700 is the total
Operating cost
without pilot.
Exactly, correct.
And work of the pilot is paid on hourly basis, or?
That's up to the owner. Most of the owners that have a pilot will pay him per hour that he flies. The pilot will usually just send an invoice to the owner for every hour that he flies. That's not to say some pilot might not charge more than 500 an hour. That's up to him how much he wants to be paid.
700 it's Kodiak, and TBM?
TBM,
as it's double faster.
I would say double the price because double the plane.
Yeah, sure.
I think is a very safe way to go about that. It's always better to estimate more than less as well.
Yeah, sure.
As you know.
But in fact, for 10 people, including pilot, let's say 1,200 euros, it's not really much considering, I mean, if you take a price per pax, 120 euros. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's in a personal capacity. I think if you are going to put it in a charter operation, you have a different cost again.
I mean, for the big families who travel more or less on standard destinations, so it could be a good fun and alternative to the standard aviation or driving big cars.
It is actually,
especially if you have your dog or whatever.
Yeah, I have people that have come by the stand this week that have said, "Oh, well, that's actually way cheaper." That do the maths really quickly. And
we are meeting today, so that's why we want to give an idea, because cars are so easy, houses are so easy to make all these estimations, and the aircrafts, everybody somehow dreaming about aviation.
Yeah, but it's to approach it for the first time. I think it's nice to feel like you have an idea of what you're going into before you just go. You don't just buy an airplane, you have to know. I think the goal with us is to make it a little bit less intimidating for someone who wants to.
Can you give an idea how it's easy to find a place to park and how much does it cost?
For example, at Mönchengladbach, you would pay about 20 euros per day to park. I think
So it's you pay like for the parking of the car?
Yeah. I mean, if you're in a parking garage, you'll probably end up paying the same price to rent a parking garage in a city for your car as you will to have a space for your aeroplane at a general aviation airport. I mean, obviously, bigger airports with more security or more operations in them are going to get more expensive places. Yeah.
One more example of the possible price. I mean, in the well-used big airports.
I mean, you could rent a hangar space in the big airports. With these aircraft, you would probably not have your own hangar. You would rent a space in a hangar. I guess also maybe up to, this is a very rough.
Very rough, yes, just an idea.
Between 500 and 1,000 euros a month, depending.
A month.
Yeah, depending on the airport, depending on the hangar, really, what they want to charge for that piece.
Okay, and for these type of aircrafts, landing, there are some state fees to be paid on each and every flight?
Yes, again, incredibly different, depends on the airport, but it's calculated by the weight of the aeroplane. Both of them are around about 3 tons in weight. Again, every airport charges very differently. It's very difficult to guess. You can pay anywhere from 2 euros for a landing up to like 50 euros for a landing. It depends not only on the weight, but also on the staff that are needed. You know, tower controllers, marshallers on the ground, fuel staff. The more of that's at the airport for the airplanes, the more expensive the landing fee gets.
But I assume that for small aircrafts like these, you would not use really big airports. So you would use small and cheap airports, which are not able to use for the
big jets.
Luxury jets. Yes.
Exactly. I mean, you want to also try and use more of the small airports. As a pilot, it makes your life easier. It's stressful to be in a control zone with much faster jets and larger aircraft because you always have to give way to them. They're always going to come in first, and there's a lot of factors again. You can't be too close to them because of the turbulence behind the airplanes. It's a stressful experience. It's better to go small.
With cars, you buy the car and it's immediately losing, let's say, 20-30%. It's a standard. Tell us what is going on in the aviation market.
It's a little bit different. Right now, aeroplanes are holding their value and in some cases gaining value because supply and demand has become unbalanced. We have very bad supply at the moment. We've had a pandemic, we've had a lot of factors in the world. And so we have people who want aeroplanes that don't exist. So they're willing to pay a much higher price to make sure that they can get an aeroplane. So I'd say the value of an aircraft, unless it's very, very old with a lot of hours on, is determined by the stability of the market and the availability of airplanes.
We came to understanding that if you buy now and sell it, let's say, in 10 years' time, while using it efficiently, most probably you have a good chance, considering definitely inflation and so on, most probably you would sell it at the same price as you bought.
Okay. Yes, which is, I think, every owner's dream is to sell his asset for what he paid for the asset. It's
yes,
a great time.
so you've been consuming it for 10 years, probably you've been earning if it's under AOC. You've been saving your personal time, your family time, and you just maybe you would not be earning on the sale, which theoretically could be the case also, considering these post-COVID problems with the spare parts and increase in the pricing. So it's really, really very attractive investment.
Right now, that's the best time to have an airplane is now.
Because I'm telling our clients living in Monaco especially, or Switzerland, they pay approximately 0.5%, 1% per year on their cash in the bank.
Yeah.
So it's if you keep for 10 years money in the bank, you would lose 10% of the value of your money.
Correct.
And here it's a really safe and good investment.
Yeah. You will keep your money. It's a bit. We talk about parking money. It's a good time to be parking your money with an
Parking.
aircraft.
I like this. It's a good subject to be discussed. If
But
you
that's
want
a
to
whole
park
new
money or
subject.
drive money.
Exactly. Do you want to? Yeah, park it or.
But in fact, using your terminology, while parked your money, you would drive your income.
Yes, it's quite literally what you would be doing, which is fabulous.
Interesting. Tell us, what is the reason for you to come to such big shows like this?
It's to get the reputation of the aeroplane out there, to give exposure to our brand, to our aircraft, to make sure that everyone's talking about it. The more attention, the better, and that's why we come here.
We've been speaking to some other people here. If show exhibition like this is to make transactions, or so is it theoretically possible to come here and agree a good price and everything directly with you?
For example, if we have an aeroplane for sale here right now, yes, of course. If you want to come and buy the aeroplane, I want to sell it to you. So yes, obviously.
Okay, probably it would be too late this time. So the next event you are going in such type of scale, what it would be?
It will be the private flyer event in London. It will be at Wycombe Air Park. We'll be there with the Kodiak and the TBM, hopefully a TBM 960.
Tell a few words. I never, in fact, heard this event. What is it?
A wonderful event. There's a car section, so really nice vintage cars and also aircraft. So it's a bit of a lifestyle event, if you want to call it that.
When it would be?
It's on the 13th and the 14th of May.
Theoretically, people can come and meet you, and you would give like a personal introduction into particular model.
Exactly. So exactly what's going on behind us now, the same thing would happen there. They could come, look at the aeroplane, sit inside, play with the instruments if they want to, really feel if it's comfortable for them, if it's what they want to have. And after that, we can decide, do they want to go further, have a flight, a demonstration flight, maybe buy the aircraft or order one for another year.
Most of our clients, they've been flying jets, private jets, and this is a bit different style and a bit different way of flying. So, do you offer like testing flights, and how could it be organized? Because I assume it's absolutely different feeling of flying on two different aircrafts.
Yes. Well, at the moment, because even we are affected by the aircraft shortage, we would rent an aeroplane from an owner. Often the owner will do the demonstration flight himself, or else one of the pilots from our company will do it. It's really up to the owner to decide if he wants to charge money. Normally, they will charge the operating cost of the aeroplane for the demonstration flight. Any event, if you buy the aircraft afterwards, we credit the money back. So it's I'd say actually all of our buyers so far, they're happy to theoretically agree to pay the demonstration flight if they don't buy the aeroplane. I think that's the only hurdle to cross with this, is to say, yeah, there is still a cost to this. It's not for free unless the aircraft bought at the end.
How difficult? I mean, how long time could it take to organize this type of testing flight? I mean, not on the show, of course, but I mean...
it takes a day or so. It's a matter of
so
making a phone
it's not
call.
like 2-3 months in advance agreement and...
No, I mean, we might not be able to do the flight the next day, but we would have an answer of when there would be a chance to do a demonstration. It'll take maybe a day. We just have to phone the owners that we have in our book, if you want to call it that.
So it's more or less standard process for you.
You know who you can phone, who will say yes already.
And client is just paying the costs, and if he doesn't like or he has not made a final decision, no any obligations from his side, and so it could be really done in easy way.
It's a very easy way to do it, and at the end of the day, no one is being forced to make a purchase. Everyone walks away clean and happy. But in most cases, if they decide to go on the flight, they do buy the aeroplane.
As a professional, speaking on daily basis to the producers and the clients, can you just give an idea of the tendencies in the market? So, I mean, people been scared about COVID, now the war, should they delay the acquisition, or aviation is still going on and maybe would be even more developed? Tell us your professional opinion.
So it breaks down into two things. COVID has made a lot more people aware of traveling in an airline environment. So what we've seen is people that were flying business or first class on the airlines before the pandemic are now choosing to fly private or looking into having an aircraft for themselves to fly, to be away from the crowds and the health risks and the inconveniences. So that's one factor driving the markets. The other, yes, of course, the war has affected the market, like the pandemic. There's inflation, there's difficulty obtaining an aircraft. I would advise not to delay buying an aeroplane, because the trend right now is for the prices to increase. And we're talking dramatic increases. The Kodiak, we've just confirmed a 7% price increase for next year.
And that's not still that much, because I heard about 20-30% increase from other producers.
The jets, the larger aircraft are going to get very, very expensive. We spoke about parking money. It's a good time to own an asset that you can sell again in a year or two's time.
Buyers, they shouldn't really fear that owning of aircraft is that expensive. So because everybody really afraid of these. Like boat is the way to spend your money.
Yes.
And aircraft probably still at least park your money.
Yes, I think a boat, I'm not a boat expert.
Yes.
I do love them though, but the running costs of a boat is extreme. I mean, you can buy a few aircraft for the price of,
what I mean that you cannot compare boats and aircraft. So it's absolutely different markets.
I wouldn't compare them at all. No.
And I assume Kodiak, let's say, you don't need only to fly personally, so you can use it for some business, like transport of some goods or whatever, delivery of something. To tell us the ways this aircraft could be used in case you don't want to fly yourself, or you cannot fly yourself for the moment.
Okay, so, well, you'd have a pilot in that case, and that pilot could fly you and your family or your friends, business partners, as one would normally. Alternatively, especially the Kodiak, you can take out all the seats, you can take out the carpet. It's got a very big door, so you can load cargo. You can take a cargo pallet very normally. And we do, in fact, have...
Even pallets?
Pallets can fit in there, same as piece of cloth. So we do, in fact, have an owner here in Germany who's been flying his Kodiak for about 4 years now, has an engineering firm. You'll see in the Kodiak brochures and the media, you'll actually see this owner loading truck gearboxes into the Kodiak. And he's very proud of this. He uses this very actively for personal travel and to transport his actual goods.
So it's very useful these days.
It's very versatile.
So in fact, you can combine your personal European business with your private use of the aircraft.
Exactly, which makes the cost even more tolerable, isn't it?
I assume not cost, but your profitability is really increasing.
That's a better way to put it, you're right.
And how long time, for example, just to give an idea, how difficult is it to take out chairs from the aircraft?
A few minutes, I can do it
and
myself.
You can do it yourself?
I can do it myself.
I mean, okay,
really
it's even more impressive.
Yes, it's very, very easy. Takes a few minutes.
It's even hard to believe you can do at home yourself. I mean, like making a renovation of your flat yourself.
Yeah, you can do all of that yourself.
We would advise our clients to speak to you directly about some particular technical questions, and we would be happy to bring you such clients and explain them based on this discussion today, how easy it is, and that it's probably a good idea at least to start thinking about acquisition of aircraft.
Exactly. I mean, for each client we will take personal time, same as you would for a charter client, same situation, to make sure that what the information that they're receiving is tailored for what they are doing with the aeroplane. So by all means.
Thank you very much for this time. I noticed while making a point that you're so busy here, so clients are really...
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Seems to be that they are already queuing to buy the aircraft. But still, I think even in this situation, there is a chance to buy either these small birds, or you can direct, for example, to Honda Jet or something else, and you can even give a personal introduction like a pilot yourself.
Exactly. We can speak to owners in terms of if they prefer to speak as a pilot or if they prefer to speak as a buyer.
And I like the idea that the owner can rather easy become a pilot. So
Yes.
that's also interesting.
The only limitation is the owner's time and to do the training, really.
Okay, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to meet you here, and hope to see you on next show.
Definitely. Thank you, Vitaly.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.